UFC Fight Night Edmonton's this week, and the main event is Brandon Moreno making his return against Amir Albazi, coming back to fight his once every 18-month fight. This guy is the most inactive guy in the sport, and it's absolutely annoying to see, especially because he's on the brink of a title shot. With a win against Moreno here, he might just fucking be the next in line to get one, even though he robbed Kai Kara France bad and his fight style sucks. Maybe Dana grows a sack and says, hey, your fight style sucks, we're not letting you fight for the title. That would be awesome. But yeah, we're going to give you my picks and predictions for the whole card. I know I just started that with an absolute bitch fest. Yeah, I don't know why. I'll stop. But my overall record's 274 and 165. Let's just get right into it. Jamie Lynn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. Now, mind you, this is going to be a card in Edmonton. And last time we had a card in Canada, it was UFC 297. I think every Canadian man lost and every Canadian woman won. Now, you look at Jamie Lynn Horth and you're like, I don't really know which one it is. But then you look at Ivana Petrovic and you're like, well, it's still kind of dicey, but I guess this is a Canadian female versus a Croatian female. So, now that I've just gotten done absolutely degrading these fighters, I'm going to go with Ivana Petrovic here. I like the reach advantage. She's younger, but she is still 30, so she's in her, I guess, we talk about women's primes kind of being more of that 34 to like 37 age, but I think Ivana Petrovic is going to be faster. I think she's going to be able to get it done. And I don't think Jamie Lynn Horth is that good. She went to a split decision with Veronica Hardy, yeah, and it was remotely competitive a little bit. But I think the way she fights, like, she has a little bit of power, but she's sloppy on the feet, not very clean and technical. And she relies on being able to grapple when things do get dicey in the pocket. I just think Petrovic is going to be able to outstrike her here. And then if Jamie Lynn Horth wants to wrestle and wants to grapple, Ivana Petrovic has 3 subs as well, has never been submitted. The only loss that Ivana Petrovic has is to Luana Carolina by unanimous decision. And Luana Carolina's like, she's got some good wins in the UFC. Yes, she got spinning back fist elbowed by Molly McCann, but Luana Carolina, like, again, I can't believe I'm saying this because she's not that great of a fighter, but like, she's beating decent competition in the flyweight division, and she's now on a win streak consistently here. So I'm going to go with Ivana Petrovic to get this one done by a decision. Probably going to be a split with one of the questionable scorecards going to Jamie Lynn Horth because we're in Canada. See, I don't just do this in Abu Dhabi. I do it for everywhere. But I'm going with Ivana Petrovic, and she's also a plus 180 underdog. I like that pick here. I think Ivana Petrovic is going to be able to get it done. We move on, Chad Hellinger versus Cody Gibson. I'm going with Cody Gibson. They're both 37, so it's not like I can be like, well, Cody Gibson's 37, so I got to pick the other guy. No, they're both 37. Listen, Chad Hellinger is short. He's got a little bit of power in that right hand, but Cody Gibson's a tough guy. Like, he is tough, and he's coming off a good win recently over, who was it? Brian Kelleher? Not overly exciting, but he goes to decision with Miles Johns. He has a scrap with Brad Katona. And then Chad Hellinger is beating, like, Charalampos Gregorio. Not rating that win much. I don't think Chad Hellinger is that good. I think he can, he has some decent, like, strength in wrestling, and he likes to kind of throw his jab out there a lot, especially for a guy with a really short reach, but I don't think that's going to work on Cody Gibson. I think Cody Gibson's going to be able to take all the shots that Hellinger has to throw and be able to land his own damage, start landing good combinations, implement some grappling of his own, maybe not taking down Hellinger, but pushing him against the cage, landing some knees to the thigh, getting some to the body, landing elbows off the break. I think Cody Gibson's going to be able to mix it up a little bit more and be more effective, and I think his range is really going to be the story of this fight, so I'm going to go with Cody Gibson to win a unanimous decision here, 29-28, 29-28, 30-27 on one scorecard. We're going Cody Gibson by decision here. Sahir Sadeh versus Garrett Armfield. I'm going to go with Sahir Sadeh. I think Sahir Sadeh won his last fight against Ramon Tavares and got robbed by the judges. Even though I picked Ramon Tavares in that fight, I still think Sadeh won. I like Sadeh striking. I think it's really, really fun, really technical, really good. Now, I can see Garrett Armfield trying to wrestle here just because he might be getting pieced up by Sahir Sadeh. But this is a good matchup because Garrett Armfield is predominantly a striker. He really doesn't like to engage in the grappling that much, at least offensively. He can defensively grapple a little bit. But I think Sahir Sadeh is going to be able to piece him up on the feet here, switching stances, landing good low kicks, landing kicks up top, peppering shots out there, out-voluming Garrett Armfield, and I think he's going to be able to win this, and I trust him to go to a scrap more than I trust Garrett Armfield a little bit. I don't think Garrett Armfield's bad by any means, but there's a massive height discrepancy here, and I just think there's also a skill discrepancy, and when you're combining the two of those together, and it's going to be a predominantly on-the-foot fight, I think Garrett Armfield's going to have really a lot of trouble getting in on the inside and finding his shots against Sahir Sadeh. He may have a couple moments where he lands some combinations and people go ooh and ah, but the reason they're going ooh and ah is because the only strikes he's really landing in the fight. I can see Garrett Armfield really struggling to connect in this fight, and I can see Sahir Sadeh putting a borderline significant strike record out there. I'm going Sahir Sadeh, and I'm going for him to win a decision in this fight. Alexander Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento. I'm going to go with Rodrigo Nascimento by rear naked choke. I think Alexander Romanov is terrible. While he is a wrestler and can get people to the ground, he doesn't know how to defend his neck. He has terrible jiu-jitsu, and he's even more fat and out of shape than Rodrigo Nascimento. I mean, seriously. We saw Rodrigo Nascimento actually make it to a third round with Derek Lewis. Alexander Romanov has never sniffed he's never sniffed a third round, but he's lost a decision in a 3-rounder to Marcin Tybura. There's that, right? The only reason he didn't completely lose, or did he lose or did he draw? Because he might have 10-8'd Tybura in the first and then lost the next 2 rounds. I don't really remember off the top of my head now. Got subbed by Almeida, which, welcome to the club. He's the fat guy strangler from Family Guy, like literally. He wins a decision against Blagoy Ivanov. I think Nascimento's better. He gets murdered by Volkov after gassing out in 2 minutes. He loses a majority decision to Tybura. That's what it was. And he subbed like Chase Sherman. So, the only way for Romanov to win this fight is to dominate in the grappling. And I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Nascimento. I think Nascimento's going to be able to stuff takedowns. Or even if he's getting controlled on the ground, be able to stop the ground and pound and get Alexander Romanov to be the one that's tired and end up winning this fight in the second round. So I'm going Rodrigo Nascimento to win this fight by rear naked choke. I think it ends up on the ground again in round 2, and Nascimento's the one that's able to chase the back and get the choke. Nascimento by submission here, specifically rear naked choke, round 2. Youssef Zalal versus Jack Shore. Now, this is the Jack Shore, do you deserve to jump into the rankings or fight a ranked opponent after this? I'm sorry, this is a Youssef Zalal, do you deserve it? And I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to be able to beat Jack Shore. I like his fast twitch muscle ability. I like how much he's gotten better since his time off in the UFC. People forget what this guy did. We just saw Ilia Topuria this weekend. Ilia Topuria got in that octagon and didn't knock out Youssef Zalal. I rate that. I really do rate that. Ilia Topuria knocks everybody the fuck out. Now, the reason he got cut is he went on a streak here of losing to Ilia Topuria. Welcome to the club. Everyone's done that so far. Seungwoo Choi, which I think was a little bit of a closer decision, but Seungwoo Choi just landed the better shots apparently in that fight. And then the Sean Woodson fight was a pretty close decision. It was a split. Could have went either way. But then he draws Damone Blackshear and they cut him. Goes back to the regional scene, first round knockout, first out submission, comes back to the UFC, subs Billy Quarantillo in the second round after beating his ass in the first, and then subs Jarno Aarons in the first. This guy is on an absolute rampage, and I think he's going to outclass Jack Shore here. Jack Shore has great BJJ. I don't think Youssef Zalal is going to be doing too much to get this to the ground. I think he's going to stand on the feet and land a lot of good shots and end up piecing up Jack Shore. I'm going with Youssef Zalal to win a very dominant decision in this fight. Sorry I'm not picking a lot of finishes. He could get a knockout of Jack Shore here. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I am going to go knockout for Youssef Zalal, and I think he's going to get it done in round 2. I think he's going to just land those low kicks that really start to open things up for him upstairs, and he's going to just land a good combination that ends up TKO and Jack Shore with a knockdown, maybe lands a couple of ground and pound shots, and then it's over. I think Jack Shore is good. I just think Youssef Zalal is better, and I think he is top 15 caliber at featherweight right now. So I'm going with Youssef Zalal. I think he's going to win via second round TKO in this fight. This fight is probably predominantly going to take place on the feet. If it gets to the ground, I do think Youssef Zalal is the better grappler, but Jack Shore does have a sneaky submission game. I am still going to go with Yusuf Zalal. I think he's getting it done, and I think this is honestly the lock of the card. Yusuf Zalal gets this one done, second round knockout. Moving on, Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. Charles Jourdain is doing a weight cut down to 135. I don't know how that's going to suit him. Could be tricky. But then again, Victor Henry's 37. He's got decent skills and he lands a lot of volume and stuff. I just don't think Victor Henry's that good. I also don't think Charles Jourdain's that good. I thought he was at points in time, but when you look at the competition he's lost to, it's pretty decent. Sean Woodson, Gene Silva, sub Ricardo Ramos, when Ricardo Ramos was a dumbass and went for that blast double like he always does. Destroyed Kron Gracie because Kron Gracie can only grapple and has no other warrior bone in his body. Nathaniel Wood, he's fought good competition recently. And Victor Henry beat the shit out of not Howley and Paiva even. It was worst fighter. Ronnie Yaya. Don't really rank that. Yeah, dude, you know what? I'm going with Charles Jourdain here. I think the weight cut gets dicey for him, but I don't think he's going to get chinned. Gene Silva has a different level of power. A dude that'll fight at 155 versus now he's going, Charles Jourdain's going down weight for 135, which is going to be a strict weight cut for him. It's going to be tougher. His chin's going to be more vulnerable. I just don't think Victor Henry has the pop. I think he's going to throw a lot of volume in this, but I think every time Jourdain lands, it's going to look more devastating. Also, I think this goes to the scorecards, and I can see a robbery decision for Charles Jourdain here to keep him around. I'm going Charles Jourdain to win a decision here that could be a questionable one. We're going Charles Jourdain, questionable decision. Just looking at Victor Henry, man, I don't think he's that good. People talk about him like crazy. Guru talks about him like crazy, dude. I just don't think he's that good. He TKO'd Ronnie Yaya in the third. Nothing special. Javid Basharat, he went to a no contest. I think it was a cup shot. Tony Gravali, split decision. Lost to a Sunsao. Beat Ronnie Barcelos. Umar's greatest win other than Sandhagen. Ronnie Barcelos. Crazy to me. I'm going Charles Jourdain by a sketchy decision. Now hear me out. Ariane Lipski's a live dog here. She's a live dog. And I think she's going to be very difficult to take down. Where Jasmine Jasudavicius does her best work. I don't think Jasmine Jasudavicius' striking's that good, but she's tough, she's gritty. She fought a really good prospect in Fatima Klein last time, but was able to take her down. There was a massive size discrepancy here. Fatima Klein is a strawweight. Took this fight on short notice and goes to a decision with Jasmine Jasudavicius. She subbed Priscilla Cachoeira. Priscilla Cachoeira sucks, and Valentina Shevchenko killed her. Tracy Cortez, she lost to. Miranda Maverick she beat, but I don't know if she beats Miranda Maverick again if they fight. She beat Gabby Fernandez. There's some good wins on there. The Fatima Klein win and the Miranda Maverick win are good wins. I think she lost to Natalia Silva or she beat her? She lost to Natalia Silva. So did Ariane Lipski, but Ariane Lipski had a closer fight with her. I'm going to go with Lipski, dude. And I know her name's Ariane De Silva here, but then you'll go to the UFC website and it'll say Lipski. Or DraftKings will say Lipski. I'm gonna go with Ariane De Silva. I'm going with the women's upset here. I think she can get it done. I think that Jasmine Jasudavicius can try and grapple, but I think that Ariane De Silva is going to be hip to it. I think she's got the better submission game as well. And I think she's been in the UFC longer, right? She's fought really tough competition as well. She gets TKO, but I'm not expecting, she's not going to get subbed by Jasudavicius. She got decision by Karine Silva. Karine Silva's pretty solid. And look at this activity. This is good. She subbed Casey O'Neill, who just coming off a win. She split decision Melissa Gatto, which I don't love, but Melissa Gatto's not the worst. Decision JJ Aldrich. She got knocked out by Priscilla Cachoeira, which I don't like to see, but that's the 1 minute knockout fluke. Beat Mandy Bohm, knocked out here. She can get knocked out. She might get knocked out. But I don't think she will. It's been a while since she's been KO'd. It's been since August of 22. She took 7 months off, came back, got a decision win, got a submission, and then lost a decision to Karine Silva, who's dangerous. Now, I know that everything that I talk about it's all about the judges and who they want to win and who the UFC wants to win, but I don't think that Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to get a super beneficial decision here, and that's a hot take considering we're in Canada. I'm going to go with the judges to make the right call on this one. Ariane De Silva / Lipsky, whatever we're calling her. Ariane De Silva to win this fight via split decision. Amin Zahabi versus Pedro Munoz. I actually think Amin Zahabi's pretty solid. He's a Canadian man. I'm sorry to have to do that because they lose on these cards, dude. Like, they really do. You go to the last fight, everyone lost. Now, in this one, what did I pick so far? I went against the Canadian man here in Cody Gibson, but I don't think that's a bad pick. There's no... Jordan I picked because I just think he's better than Victor Henry, and he might get the scorecards, but I'm going to go with Munoz. Amin Zahabi looked good against Javid Basharat, but, like, he's a guy that, like, stuffs all the takedowns that you want to shoot on him, and then lulls you into a slow fight and wins that slow fight decision. I think Pedro Munoz is going to be more active, and I think you can kick Amin Zahabi's leg pretty easily. I'm going to go with Pedro Munoz to win a decision here. I think he's going to beat up the legs of Amin Zahabi, and then I think he's going to start landing some punches up top that are doing damage, and he's going to win this fight. I'm going Pedro Munoz to win rounds 1 and 3. Amin Zahabi has a close round 2 with him and gets it on the judges' scorecards, but I think Pedro Munoz's leg kicks are going to be too much. You're going to see him use them very often early. Then in round 2, he's going to go to strictly the hands, and Amin Zahabi's going to get him with the hands and end up winning that round and stuffing a takedown or two. And then Pedro Munoz is going to hear from the corner, listen, the low kicks were working really well. You got to go back to them and mix them up. If you want to throw the hands, that's fine. But you need to mix up those low kicks and keep him guessing, make him go on his back foot. And I think that's what Pedro Munoz is going to do here. I'm going to go Pedro Munoz to win a 29-28 unanimous decision on this fight. Low kicks are going to be key for him here, and I think he's going to be able to get it done. I think Amin Zahabi's legs are kickable, so I'm going to go with Pedro Munoz. Mike Mallet versus Trevin Giles. It's a pretty easy one for me. Mike Mallett's going to win this fight. He almost beat Neil Magny, but Neil Magny just willed through and had to keep his gatekeeper record going. Like, he had lost, I think, a fight before that, so he had to get another win. Mike Mallett's going to beat Trevin Giles, though. I think he's better all around. I think he's more explosive in the striking. I think his grappling, his wrestling specifically, is much better, and I think his jiu-jitsu is better. Wow, I'm struggling through that prediction there, just burping up a storm. Can't tell if that was really a burp or a hiccup, but you don't care. I get it. Mike Mallett's going to win this fight. I think he's going to have a lot of low kicks that he can land early, damaging, starts to go away from them, and realizes a lot of success with his hands. There might be a moment or two where Trevin Giles lands, but Mike Mallett's eating it really well. This dude is in very good shape. He gassed out, but he was putting on a pace against Neil Magny, and then he gassed out. I don't think that he's going to have to do that against Trevin Giles. I think he can be a little bit more patient, land the powerful shots, land spurts of combinations and big bursts of energy, but I don't think he's going to blow himself out in this fight like he did in the last fight. It was a fight to get in the rankings against Neil Magny last time. There was a lot on the line. He was on a pay-per-view main card. I think this is a little bit easier for him. He's in Edmonton, his hometown. I think Mike Mallett's going to win this fight, and I think he's going to get it done by a second-round knockout here. I think the low kicks are going to land early, and he's going to land a lot of those good combinations up top. And he's going to get a finish. And you know what? I say knockout. I actually think he ends up getting a knockout and a rear naked choke in this fight. I think, if I'm not crazy, yeah, Trevin Giles has been submitted 3 times. Once by Bonfim, which, like, welcome to the club. It was Bonfim either submits you or you're Nicholas Dalby and you beat him. Coming off 2 finishes, though. Like, sub by Bonfim, knocked out by Pratis. So now he's taking some time off, and then he gets a tough test in Mallet. Like, he beat Preston Parsons in a close fight, and Preston Parsons, he ain't bad. And then he beat Lucas Koska, I don't even remember what his first name is. Lost to Michael Morales. Like, Trevin Giles is the guy you put up there to lose to your prospects, and I think he's going to lose to the prospect here. I'm going Mike Mallet to win by a second-round knockout. Moving on, Dustin Stoltzfus versus Powerbar. I'm going to go with Powerbar to win a round 3 TKO due to Dustin Stoltzfus getting extremely tired. I think Stoltzfus is going to take this first round, though. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with his explosiveness, his speed in this fight, and I think he's going to start tagging Marc-Andre Barriault. But Marc-Andre Barriault's going to keep walking forward, land that jab a lot, start pushing Stoltzfus against the cage, really make him work, get tired, and I think Marc-Andre Barriault's going to cardio machine his way to a round 3 finish in this fight via a combination TKO where he is landing just a plethora of punches and the judges just, or the ref just pity stops it. I'm going Marc-Andre Barriault round 3 finish here. I can see it right now. It's like Stoltzfus is landing early and he's landing often and it's looking good. And then all of a sudden it's the classic Marc-Andre Barriault where he starts to take over 3/4 of the way through the first round and then just continues to roll downhill from there, landing extremely high volume number of punches. Not a ton of power on it, but there's going to be so much volume that they look so brutal. And I don't think we're seeing much from the kicking game here from anyone other than Stoltzfus. I just think that you're going to see power bar do the classic march forward, throw combinations, push Stoltzfus against the cage, get head position, land an elbow off the break, body punch combination, back up, start landing combinations again. Like, I just think he's going to overwhelm Stoltzfus with energy, volume, and that's what's going to win him this fight. I'm going Marc-Andre Barriault to win this fight, round 3 TKO, based off of volume. Moving on. How many underdogs have I picked? Because, heads up, I'm going Brenderson Hibario, dude. I'm not picking a guy that, was fat at heavyweight. Now, he did move down. He's probably going to be faster, but I bet his chin's gone. I bet Hibario catches him. But let's do the underdog count here really quick. First fight, 1, 2, 3. 3 underdogs so far, and we're going with a 4th, man. I'm going Brenderson Hibario. I think he's faster. I think he's more explosive. I think he has more power. He has bigger reach. And this guy, will scrap. He's made it to a decision against a dude in Abu Dhabi. I forget his Gaziazulov, I believe it was. Yeah, Gaziazulov. Dude, my memory's kind of fucking goated, guys. I'm literally gross at memory. I'm friends with the Pointer Brothers, all right? So I'm doing that. You live with it, all right? It's my thing. It's their thing. But they're my boys, so it's my thing too. Listen, this guy gets into scraps, though. I know he's coming off 2 losses here in the UFC. I get it. And I know he's super hittable. Dude, I think Caio Machado is more hittable, and I think he throws so slow. Now, granted, he's coming down to light heavyweight, so I expect him to be faster, but I don't expect him to be faster than the guy in the cage. I think Brenderson Hibario is going to knock him out in round 1. I think he's going to land a straight 1-2 down the middle within the first 2.5 minutes. That is going to really hurt and wobble Caio Machado. He's going to start relentlessly running in, landing a wild hook combination, knock him down, and then finish him. And the judge is going to jump in. The referee is going to jump in, and it's going to be a round 1 KO for Brenderson Hibario. I don't think Caio Machado's that good, man. He's going to pitter-pat decisions and losing to Dontel Mays and Mick Parkin. And granted, Mick Parkin, I think, is actually someone that's going to be a perennial 15 to 10 ranked heavyweight in his lifetime. I think he'll stay there once he gets in there forever. But I think Brenderson Hibario's too fast. I think Brenderson Hibario is going to knock out Caio Machado. He's too fast, too explosive. He's got the range. He's got the age advantage. And I say age advantage, Caio Machado's entering his prime. But, if you were 251 at heavyweight, 6'4", and you were looking a little puffy, is that really your physical prime? Now, I get you're coming down to light heavyweight, so we're going to see a massive weight drop in this. But I trust Brenderson Hibario to get it done. I really do. And I think we could see some problems with the weight cut for Caio Machado. So I'm going to go with Brenderson Hibario to get it done. First round knockout, just the speed and the power is going to be too much. Moving on. Derek Lewis is being disrespected again. Not necessarily saying by the odds, but why the fuck does he have to fight an up-and-coming kickboxing phenom? Why? No, I'm going to pick Derek Lewis to win because I can't help it. I have to see Derek Lewis as an underdog fighting an unranked heavyweight and pick him to win because that's what he does. He beats the Rodrigo Nascimentos. He'll beat the Dontel Mays. He'll beat the Caio Machados. He'll beat the Mick Parkins. He'll beat the... Can't say the Tai Tuivasas. I think he's going to beat a Tybura. He beats a Romanov. Dude, come on, man. He beats a DeLima. He loses to Spivak. Yeah, but, that's a top 10 guy. He doesn't lose to these guys outside the rankings. Now, I think Jordano Diaz is a guy that can find his way into the rankings with his speed and his power and his kickboxing prowess, but I do think he's going to run into issues with the wrestling. And I think Derek Lewis is actually going to be able to wrestle in this fight and get it done with the wrestling. I'm picking Derek Lewis to win this fight. I'm going to say he's going to win by knockout. I think he's going to get the takedown. I think he's just going to get to mount and posture up and land insane ground and pound, beating the piss out of Jonado Diaz. But I'm well aware that if he doesn't get this fight to the ground, it's either Derek Lewis lands a flash knockout or Jonado Diaz pieces him up and knocks him out in round 2 with insanely technical combination stuff that we haven't seen before from a heavyweight other than Tom Aspinall. I'm going with Derek Lewis because I got to. But why are we disrespecting Derek Lewis with this fight, man? Like, he should not be fighting a Jonado Diaz. He should be fighting a Tai Tuivasa rematch. It's what Derek Lewis deserves. He just fought a guy that was ranked 15 and knocked him out for you in a main event. Goes viral every time he fucking fights. You want to give him a win. Jonado Diaz is not an easy fight for him. Jonado Diaz has great kickboxing. Who do you just beat the fucking piss out of? Was it Carl Williams? Yeah, he outclassed Carl Williams, and that's a guy that likes to predominantly wrestle, but he's smaller. Austin Lane, he knocked out. Not that difficult. Yeah, dude, I really like Jonado Diaz's kickboxing, but I'm going to go with Derek Lewis, dude. I think he's going to be able to get this one done by knockout, and I think you're going to see that he's actually able to get the takedowns and land the ground and pound that gets it done. I'm going Derek Lewis, round 1 TKO with ground and pound. I am very well aware of what Jonado Diaz can do on the feet, so I am not betting on this fight. It's tough, man. It's tough, but I'm going with Derek Lewis to win this. He's going to be smart. He's going to use his grappling. He's going to get his win. He's going to take his pants off in the octagon. That's what we're expecting. That's what we want. Show us the package, D-Lou. Just kidding. Don't want to scare the kids. No, don't like that. Speaking of kids, Rose Namajunas, Pat Barry, how you doing? Aaron Blanchfield versus Rose Namajunas. I'm picking Rose the underdog here. I get that Aaron Blanchfield is a great grappling game, but we saw what she is capable of against top-level strikers in the division, people who have great footwork and great range and length. Listen, I get it. She has more reach than Rose Namajunas, but I think Rose Namajunas uses her footwork better than anybody in the division, and I think she's really just going to outclass Aaron Blanchfield 3 rounds to nothing in this fight. I think we're going to see a 30-27 unanimous decision for Rose Namajunas here, just outlanding, really using good punches now. Rose, there's something to be said that Rose has become the most boring fighter in the UFC since knocking out Zhang Weili, or winning the rematch against Zhang Weili. Let's just go take a look. Because Rose used to be this we all got to get behind Thug Rose. She's the best. She's so much fun. She beats Zhang Weili in a split decision that could have went Zhang Weili's way, but I gave it a Rose. Lost the most boring fight of all time. Most boring, and we're talking about, listen, Derek Lewis is on this card too. Him and Francis Ngannou had a stinker. But that was a 3-round, no, was it a 5-round stinker? That fight was a stinker. Carla Esparza and Rose Namajunas had an even worse stinker. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Then she goes out there, loses to Manon Fiorot in a fight that a lot of people think she won. Then in a boring fight. Not actually, this one wasn't as bad. But then she goes out there, decisions Amanda Ribas in a boring ass fight, and decisions Tracy Cortez in a boring ass fight. Aaron Blanchfield can grapple, yes, but I don't think she's going to be able to out-grapple Thug Rose here. I don't think she's going to be able to hold her against the cage or even get her to the ground. I'm going to pick Rose to absolutely outclass her on the feet here. 30-27, Rose Namajunas decision, outclassing her on the feet in every moment of this fight. It's going to be slow. It's going to be very dull, but it's going to be an outclassing by Rose Namajunas. Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi. I don't want it to happen, but Amir Albazi is going to win this fight. I think he's too physical for Brandon Moreno. I hope I'm wrong, guys. I really hope I'm fucking wrong. But Amir Albazi is going to win this fight. I think he's too physical. I think he's willing to hold Moreno up against the cage. And I think judges don't know how to score fights, so they're just going to give it to Amir Albazi. I think Albazi's just going to out-grapple Moreno, dude. I really do. Now, Moreno's going to have some rounds where he's able to stop takedowns and land the jab and really outstrike Amir Albazi. But we've seen in Amir Albazi fights in the past, like with Kai Kara-France, that doesn't fucking matter. Albazi still gets his way in the grappling, and the judges will just count it as effective grappling for no fucking reason. We saw that against Kai Kara-France, and that was the biggest robbery that I had seen that year. Terrible robbery. It's the reason why Kai Kara-France isn't fighting for a fucking title right now. Because if they gave Kai Kara-France the win, he beats Amir Albazi, then if he pulls out against Manel Cap, whatever, doesn't matter. Then he goes to fight and he knocks out Steve Erceg. So then he gets the Albazi and Erceg win back-to-back. That's a title shot. But Amir Albazi took that from him because he fights like a fucking coward. But he's going to win this fight. If he was able to out-grapple Kai Kara-France and have moments where he's able to hold Kara-France against the cage and have moments where he's able to get takedowns, Kai Kara-France is some of the best takedown defense and scrambles in the lightweight division, especially out of the strikers. I think Brandon Moreno has decent scrambles and decent jiu-jitsus, but I don't think that he's able to get up when someone super physically stronger than him is on top. So I'm going to pick Amir Albazi to win this fight by a boring decision, using his grappling. And I think we're going to see Moreno get discouraged in those first 3 rounds and then just kind of quit out there like he did against Brandon Royval. You're going to see him act like he's not going to want to be in there. Not going to throw insane amount of volume. Going to sit there and wait for a counter right hand. It's going to get to a decision and go, how did I not win? You didn't do enough, Moreno. And that's kind of what I'm noticing is happening as we continue to progress in Moreno's career. Now, that's not the case with the Pantoja fight. That was one of the greatest title fights that I have seen. Pantoja fight was a scrap. This Figgy fight, he brought it to him. The Kai Kara-France fight, he brought it to him. I don't know what I can't even say that because all these fights with Figueiredo, he brought it. But I also think Figueiredo wasn't his best in those fights because after the second one, he got fucking bored. He's like, I don't want to keep fighting the same guy 4 fucking times. Moreno went out there and he kind of quit against Royval. He had to take some time, find out why he really wanted to do this, and he's back. I thought he was going to take a year off, but he's back in, 8 months, which, good for him, but I do question how much he loves this right now. And I know Amir Albazi's hungry for this, and all he wants is his title shot. So he's going to come out there like a bat out of hell and implement his best abilities. And I can see Brandon Moreno getting bullied in the grappling, and that's just how I think this fight goes. I fucking hope I'm wrong, but I'm going with Amir Albazi to win a boring decision. These are my picks and predictions. Hopefully we do well again. I went 9-4 on the last card, and I realistically would have went 11-2 if I didn't bet with my heart. I wholeheartedly believed Rakic was going to win. Same way with Robert Whittaker, but I always knew that it was Khamzat was the more likely guy, but I saw the holes in the game, and I thought Robert was going to get it done. Same thing with Ilya and Max. I was so confident it was going to be Ilya up until fight week, and then I just let everything get to me, and I picked Max. Not this time. Not picking the guys just that I want to win. We're getting an even better prediction record. 9-4 ain't bad. 274 and 165 ain't bad. But it's going to get better this week when I clean sweep this card. Let's go. Got a lot of underdogs in here. I think I got 6 or 7 underdogs. Let's pick it. Let's go. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.